Congratulations on purchasing your Rambo bike. We know you're eager to hit the trails and start riding, so let us help you get started with the assembly so you can be on your way. Here is the box that your Rambo bike will come in. Inside you'll find two smaller boxes, one containing your battery and the other containing your charger, keys, pedals, extra bolts and parts, and a bag containing the tools you'll need to assemble your Rambo bike. The first step will be removing the bike from the box and then proceed to remove all the packaging material from the bike. If your bike does happen to come with the battery already attached, be sure to remove it before starting the initial assembly or any other time you're doing work to your Rambo bike for safety. If you don't have a bike stand, we recommend using the edge of your Rambo box to hold the bike upright. The next step would be to attach the handlebars and headlight. Start by removing the handlebar clamp at the top of the stem with a 5mm Allen wrench. Place the handlebars into the stem and then replace the clamp. You can use a 5mm Allen wrench to tighten the bolts all the way down. You want to do this in a cross pattern to ensure equal spacing between the top and bottom of the clamp. You can now attach the headlight to the handlebars by inserting the bolt on the bottom of the handlebar clamp. You can use a 5mm Allen wrench to tighten the bolt all the way down. You can then slide in any extra slack from the wire through the top of the frame. For the seat post, you'll want to add some general purpose grease. Start by removing the seat post and add some lubrication to the inside of the seat post tube. After applying, you can then reinsert the seat post and you'll want to make sure that it's tightened enough so it doesn't turn from side to side. We recommend installing the front fender before installing the front tire. You can grab the extra parts that were included in your smaller Rambo box. Start by taking the extra bolt and washer and inserting it through the front fender and then attaching it to the front forks. After inserting it, you can hand tighten the nut on the other side and then you can tighten it all the way down with a 5mm Allen wrench and a 10mm open-ended wrench. You can then use the extra small bolts and washers provided to attach the front fender towards the lower end of the forks. Slide the fender mounts towards the outside of the fork and use a 4mm Allen wrench to tighten them in place on both sides of the forks. Next, you'll want to rotate the LCD screen downwards. You may need to use a 2.5mm Allen wrench to loosen the bolts slightly. This is to protect the screen when you flip the bike upside down to attach the front tire. Start by removing the protective plastic piece between the front forks and the plastic piece between the base caliper. You can also remove the protective plastic piece from the front tire. You can then remove the axle nuts on both sides of the wheel, and then on the side with the brake disc, you can also remove the two extra anti-turn washers. These are spares in case they're needed in the future. You can also toss the original axle nuts aside because you will no longer be using them. Then you can slide the front wheel in between the front forks, and you may need to spread the forks apart just slightly in order to get it to slide in correctly. When placing the wheel into the forks, be sure the anti-turn washers are placed inside the forks as shown. This is very important. Also make sure the hub motor wire is going up the forks toward the direction of the handlebars. It will need to be this direction to connect it properly. Also be sure to align the brake rotor between the pads and the caliper when inserting the front wheel. Once it's placed properly in between the front forks, you can then slide on the regular washers and the black axle bolts on both sides of the forks. You can then use the provided tool to tighten the bolts all the way down. Next, you'll be attaching the pedals. You'll see that they're marked left and right. This is important because the left pedal is reverse threaded. Start by adding lubrication to the right crank arm and then inserting the right pedal into the crank arm and then rotate it clockwise to tighten. Then use a 15mm wrench to tighten it the rest of the way down. You can then repeat these steps for the left pedal except rotating it counterclockwise to tighten. You can connect the two wires from the controls to the hub motor. You can align the two connectors as shown and press them together until they're fully attached. Once attached, you can secure them in place and tighten them down as shown. You can use the additional wire holder provided to help hold the wire in place. Do this by placing it over the forks and then inserting the wire into the holder. You can then tighten down the bolt. You can also tighten down the other wire holder that should already be attached to the front forks. You can then slide in any extra wire into the hole provided at the top of the frame. You can now rotate the LCD screen back in position and tighten it down with a 2.5mm Allen wrench. You'll want to ensure that the handlebars are tightened. To do this, stand over the front tire and hold it in between your legs and try to rotate the handlebars from side to side. If they move independently from the tire, you can then tighten the two bolts down on either side of the stem with a 5mm Allen wrench. After completing the assembly and your battery is fully charged, you can then reattach the battery to your bike. You are now ready to head out on your first ride with your Rambo bike. We do recommend watching our quick before before you ride video. It will quickly show you how to correctly set up and operate your Rambo bike before your first ride. Congratulations again on purchasing your Rambo bike. Be sure to follow and tag us on social media with your Rambo bike adventures.